Many of us are struggling to get into the Christmas spirit. Every year, I find myself surprised by the Advent readings. You'd think that as we count down to the 4 weeks to Christmas, the lectionary would immerse us in angelic visits, miraculous pregnancies, and of course Joseph's bewildered but faithful response to God's plan. Instead, we're greeted with readings that feel out of place. Doom and gloom, warnings of cosmic chaos, and unsettling prophecies. Take the gospel reading that was set for this morning, coming from Luke chapter 21, verses 25 through until the end of 36. That reading begins like this. There will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. Distress among nations. People will faint from fear and foreboding. Not exactly the joy to the world vibes we might be expecting on this first Sunday of Advent. And yet the tension in these readings forces us to focus and to confront a truth. Advent isn't just a countdown to Christmas. It's a season of waiting, of preparing for God to break into our world, both as a vulnerable child and as a triumphant king. This morning's reading from Jeremiah is no less surprising. Known as the weeping prophet, Jeremiah ministered during one of Israel's darkest hours. Amid exile, destruction, and despair, his prophecies are often reflected in the pain and the brokenness of his particular time. Kate Bowler describes prophets like Jeremiah as those who never shy away from hard truths. They name the world's pain, mourn its injustices, and calls God's people to hope despite it all. Amidst the chaos of his era, Jeremiah declares, "The days are surely coming, says the Lord, when I will fulfill the promise I made." Here, in just a few verses, Jeremiah dares to proclaim hope, a promise of justice, righteousness, and peace. It's not shallow optimism or escapism, but a defiant hope, a trust that God's faithfulness endures even in the storm. If we're honest, this particular year, many of us are struggling to get into the Christmas spirit. The world feels rather heavy with the economic uncertainty, the social inequality, and of course, the many global conflicts. It's hard to imagine decorating trees and singing carols when the headlines are filled with so much pain. At the same time, there's a deep yearning, perhaps inside of us, for Christmas. a need to pause, to find joy, even if it's fleeting. But can we truly celebrate Christmas amidst all the pain and brokenness of our current world? Advent reminds us that celebration and lament can coexist. The very reason we long for hope, love, joy, and peace is because the world is crying out for them. Like Jeremiah's audience, we live in turbulent times, yet we hold fast to God's promises.